everybody, Cooper here. I know you guys probably don't recognize me because it's been so long since I've been on here, but here we are today making a new video. So we got my 2018 Arctic Cat Mountain Cat 8000 153 3-inch paddles, and we went out to Centennial, Wyoming the first week of January. And well, let's say when we were heading back to the trailer to call a trip, I smoked a rock, totaled the sled. So I'm gonna take it home here. We're gonna get it out of the shop here at Presley's, and we are going to tear this whole sled down to the frame and the tunnel and see if we can't fix it. We're gonna load this sled up, bring it down to my dad's shop, or our shop, so it's not in here. With all these, I have my other ones tore apart here because it's like, oh, I'll tear this headlight out and put it in that one because it's LED and this one's not. Well, come to find out, they changed the way it mounts on there, but couldn't discover that till I tore it all the way apart, and this one's way more of a pain than this one. This one had like 8 screws. This one has like 20 screws. So I don't really want to put this one back together yet, but I need to pick this stuff up. Got to sled down to our shop here, rinse it off quick. I'm just gonna start nice and simple here. Take all the hoods off, see what we're gonna rip into next, but just gotta take these side panels off. These are super easy. Just turn 2 turn screws, pull them back, slide them forward, off. And then there's just a couple screws. There's one screw down below. There's a screw here on each side. And then this whole front comes off. Now that the hood's off, and we can get down in here, unhook the main wiring plug for the hood, run the lights and the dash and everything. Now we're gonna get our simple stuff out of the way. Take these 2 springs off here. That can will come off. And then this whole exhaust area will come off. And then we should be able to access this panel. I can never understand why I had a little rattle when this thing was idling. And right here, it's cracked. This whole thing moved. So you're sitting there, it's just making a little rattling sound, which then there's 2 pins. There's a pin here and a pin here they just slid on. And it was off those pins as well. So it's just sitting here doing this. Glad to find that. We're gonna see if we can get a pair of vice grips and just pop these off, or a screwdriver. Okay, we got all the springs off. Now we should be able to technically pull everything out. So if we just lift up here, this thing just comes right out one way or the other here. There's our exhaust. Pop can on the line. Easy as that. All this is free. We had to take our exhaust temp sensor out. It was just 11/16. Now all this should come out of here. Okay, so just 2 screws and Velcro. Easy as that. This is off. Looks like the next thing we can take off here is there's all this plastic. Looks like we just take a couple screws off. That should pop off as well. We're gonna go ahead now, and there's a bunch of all this wiring over here that runs down this way. We're gonna have to be able to get to our driver, or our chain case here. We're gonna go ahead and undo all this stuff here. As we're doing this sled here, I'm strictly learning as we go because I've never done one of these. I really don't know what I'm doing. There's gonna be a lot to do here. I think it'll be fun though to do this because it'd be nice to know more about what you're riding. If you gotta work on it somewhere in a mountain, you kind of know what you're doing. Good to have some experience, I guess, on what you're using. Plus I like tinkering with this stuff, so it'd be kind of fun to do this as a project. I was just gonna part it out and make the money that way, but I was like, well, if I can mess with it and tear it down, have some fun with it, fix it, and use this as my Iowa sled so I'm not riding my good mountain sled here, wouldn't be a bad deal. So right now what we're doing is taking the A-arms off, the shock, all this on this side. There's a bunch of rivets underneath here that we got to drill out so we can get the side plastic piece off so we can get the crankcase cover off. Now I'm sure if you were just tightening your chain or something, you can pull this back far enough to get the cover off, but for what I'm doing, I got to get all this off. Easy enough. First off, we got to get this A-arm off, or this spindle and A-arms and the tie rod and everything off so we can get in there. Putting this back together should be easier because I should know what I'm doing, hopefully. So right here, there's a bunch of plastic rivets, if you want to call them. Super easy. Put these on here and pull up. Yeah, these are easy. Gotta remove these so we can pull this plastic or this rubber plate off, or rubber seal, or whatever you want to call it, so we can get into the bolts to remove the front A-arms, I believe. Well, yeah, maybe. I think we're just going to remove them anyways. I don't know if they need necessarily removed, but we're going to. Yeah, this will make it so we can access our tie rods. So I guess we're doing the right thing. All this should slide up now. Now we have good access to our bolts. Okay, everything should be loose. So there's that. There's one side. Now we know what we're doing. The other side technically should be easier, right? But there's like 10 rivets we gotta screw out, drill out. Then we'll be golden to have this off. And we'll go ahead and flip it. Do the exact same thing to the other side. Alrighty, now that we're really getting tore into here, we can really see what we're working with. For sure, obviously as you can tell, we're gonna need a new cooler. That thing's junk. Secondly, chain case, junk. Cracked, broke this whole backside off. You can see here our teeth are kind of screwed up. I think this is from when we pulled it back, probably hitting here on the way back, so we're gonna get a new sprocket for our driver. We might have to get a whole new driver, I'm not sure. One thing I noticed, it's sitting here as the driver holes aren't quite lining up, so I don't know when this got hit, if this got compressed, but I'm pretty sure we can buy a new sprocket for this and readjust these drivers to how they need to be. The skid plate, could probably reuse it, but probably just buy a new one. It's ripped out in a bunch of places, and I want to make sure when we put this back together, since this has already been bent, this metal is going to be soft. I'm going to try to weld a plate on the inside the best I can. We did the exact same thing on the other side, same bolts out, playing different ones, we knew what we were doing. So let's try this again. Okay, now that we got all that loose, got a couple screws to take out, and we're going to take this side panel off as well, so match the other side. You guys will have to come check this out. We got a sledder coming in the future. He's starting young. We're starting him young. We're starting you young, aren't we? Yeah, 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 we are. Yeah. Junk. J-U-N-K. We're gonna start a pile of stuff we need to buy. It's gonna be our first component. While this is tipped up, might as well go ahead and pull the secondary clutch, look to see what's holding the side panel on, and then I think we can get ready to tip it up, and then here probably in a little bit, figure out how to pull the driver out so we can get this track out from underneath. So then the only thing left really should be the gas tank and the engine compartment. Now that we got it flipped over and everything really tore off here, we can really see what's wrong with this thing. So as you can tell, the running board's bent up. Crank case is junk. Sprocket's junk from when we pulled it back. It's been hitting this. Had to pull it 20 miles. Cooler's junk. Gotta get a new hose. Frame is snapped here. I'm hoping I can just get this whole new triangle piece. If not, I think we can do some fat work here and get this fixed up. This is aluminum. I'm gonna have to get pretty good at welding aluminum. The tunnel is way jank. I'm gonna try my absolute best to keep the tunnel. I don't wanna put a bunch of money in this sled, because if I'm gonna put a bunch of money into it, I might as well just let the insurance company take it. So I'm trying to do this as cheaply as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect, but to where I can ride it around here and I know it's going to be reliable and it'll be fun to use. Not saying this is going to be easy. This is going to be really time consuming, because as you can tell, this is all really rolled up. I mean, this did a number. So what happened was, yeah, we were just getting ready to leave. We were in Centennial, that's where we were riding. And we were just getting ready to leave, heading back, and just dipped off the trail. We've been riding this place all week. It's going like 40 mile an hour. Caught a rock that was under the snow. As you can tell, it caught right there, ripped everything out, it ripped it all up. Sled hit it. The sled flew like 40 feet, but I probably flew another 30 yards. Zach said I was like 6 feet in the air and almost passed him when he was riding. When I came to, the sled was upside down, red bombing, because this doesn't have a tether on it. So I got up quick, shut it off, laid there for a minute, made sure I was good. And then we flipped it back over, tied a rope to the front, then tied up to Zach's running boards on each side and pulled it back that way. And then, so yeah, that's how we got it out of there. Thank God we were 5 feet off the trail. If we'd have been 2 miles off the trail, this would have been terrible to try and get back, but I was right off the trail, so it was easy. This is gonna be a lot of work trying to get all this in here straight, and hopefully my tunnel this way isn't bowed or anything. Otherwise, I got a porta power. We're gonna try and tweak it, everything as straight as we can to get what we have to work. Because otherwise, if I have to buy a new tunnel, I'm gonna have more money in the sled than what it's worth. So at that point, if I can't salvage this, all these parts already ripped off the sled, all this right here would be for sale. The motor would be for sale, steering, handlebars, track, suspension, skids. So basically the only thing that wouldn't be for sale would be the tunnel. That's why I bought it back, because I figured if I couldn't get it going, it was $1,600 to buy the sled back. It's got 1,500 miles on the thing, so still has a lot of life left in it. Plus this gives me something to do. It's winter, getting stuff done in the shop, but it's kind of fun to do stuff like this. Test your mind. I'm gonna get this sled tipped back up, figure out what route to go next. Alrighty, we're going to start off with removing the oil supply case, if you want to say. Shoot. Well, that didn't go as planned. He caught some of the oil, did not catch all the oil, darn it. We got 4 oil lines coming in that are all the same. So I got colored zip ties here. We're gonna go ahead and zip tie a color to each one. That way we know which one goes where when we go put it back together, because God knows how long it'll be before I get this thing back together. We'll go ahead and get these labeled, put away, and we'll start taking all these screws out to take this cover off and see what we're looking at in there. Absolute mess. We were doing so good. Oh, that drives me nuts. Okay, here's our crankcase. Or not our crankcase, but our chain case. She don't look too good. She don't look too good at all. We gotta get these 2 big nuts off the rotor. And then we gotta pull the caliper off, just these 2 big Allen, so this will slide off. We should be able to drop this whole thing down and it should pull through the other side. I have a feeling these big nuts are gonna be hard to get off. Then I don't know if this rotor is threaded on or how that works, but we'll find out when we get there. There's our driver, got her out. This is what run the track. So the chain spins this, and as this spins the track, and on the other side you have your brake. As you guys can tell, we have a lot of bending going on, and it's making me a little nervous because I'm hoping I can fix it. You can tell we got a lot of crap going on here. This is bent, bowed out, as you can see in there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to save this, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get everything ripped out of it anyways. Everything over here is good. So there's a lot of money in parts here. I mean, track, $500, skid frame, a couple $100, shocks, there's probably $500-600, hood, lights, seat, side panels, motor. There's a lot of good stuff here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out this cooler because there's no point in it being there anymore. So we're going to go ahead and rip that out. My main thing is I want to get down all the way to the tunnel to see if I can do anything about this, because if I can't salvage it, there's no point in me even going any further. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of tweaking here. I think we can do it, but there's probably gonna be 20 hours at least getting this tunnel back to where it needs to be. So that's when you bend the tunnel on these sleds, they're just totaled because there's so much work that goes into it. I mean, everything over there has to come off, and I still have a bunch to take off just to get to the tunnel. This is a big deal. If you bend a tunnel, you're screwed. Okay, we got the front air box off. Now I think we're gonna take off all the steering and all this front supports that come down, and then that'll get us right down into the engine bay. We'll probably rip off all the wiring, or maybe we can keep everything connected. We're starting to finally get somewhere. We're down to the motor, most important part. We're going to see if we can get all the wires disconnected. We're gonna pull this fuel tank off because I'm pretty sure this thing's free. We're gonna pull that off too. Get that out of the way quick. Okay, motor's out. All we gotta do is get the heat exchanger out, get the chain case off, and see if we can't get these bolts out and pull this front part off, and we should have just the tunnel. Here's all our broken parts. We got the old heat exchanger, chain case is junk, skid plate's junk. Got all of our bolts labeled out here wherever they go, piece by piece kind of. And we all have our parts. Got motor, air box, driver, we got everything. Until we find a tunnel and heat exchanger, gonna be kind of sitting still because I don't think I can fix that or it's fixable. Now we just have a giant mess in the shop here. But all right, well, I'm gonna hopefully find one and I'll see you guys in the next one.